So I got a sheet of plywood and I want to make a barricade for shooting at the range. There's the paper, there's the pencil. Did a little bit of research and I kind of know what I want to make, so I'm going to draw it out on the board. I got 1/2 inch plywood, exterior grade here. You can use 3/4 inch. I just want to keep the cost down a little bit. So what I'm going to want is I'm going to be able to shoot left-handed. I want to shoot right-handed from cover, and then I want a little window in the middle, and then maybe a little window underneath that we can shoot from under, from the prone position. So I'm going to draw this thing out and then we'll have a look at it. So when you're dealing with a large piece of plywood, I don't have a big workshop, well I used to, but it's kind of just an old barn that's falling apart. So a sawhorse and the back of a pickup truck works great. Okay, so I've done my measuring and what I've decided was I'm going to rip this down to 36 inches. I'm going to cut out a small slit up here, and that will be shooting from left-handed behind a barricade. And I'm going to shoot a big block out here and then a smaller one here, so you'll have two staggered covers to shoot from here. So the two things I haven't put in yet, I haven't figured out where I'm going to put a window. I think I'm going to put a small window in here. One that you have to go a little lower than kneeling to shoot from. I'm going to put a space down at the base where you have to actually crawl down, lay down, shoot sideways from. Alright, so I'm measuring out the base at the bottom, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 6 inches in and 6 inches up. I might actually just go a touch lower than that after I measure it out. No, that'll be good. Alright, so now I just have to figure out the height that I want the window to be at, and again what I want to be able to do is make it low, so low that I can't use the kneeling position and I have to alter my stance. That will require a different stance, so we will use something along those lines. So I've decided that I want the hole to be about 22 inches off the ground, to start the bottom anyway. So I'm going to go with an 8-inch cutout and see how that works. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 inches on this side. 4 inches on this side. And there's our square that we want to cut out. Now, what I'll probably do with this one, I guess I could either drill a hole, use my jigsaw, or I can do a plunge cut with my circular saw. So now what I want to do is I want to cut out the notches. So I'm going to use a quick square and a circular saw just to get me started. The quick square is a great addition. For like $5, it just makes your circular saw so much more handy. Alright, so we've got our turret on both sides here, our barrier set, so I'm going to just do this side here. Alright, so that's the top part. I'm just going to flip this piece around and we'll have a little bit of fun with shaping the bottom and the cutout. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to do a cut basically from here to here. Now, with this type of carpentry, it really doesn't matter if it's a perfect cut, but it's been a while since I've done any woodworking and I'm kind of having a little bit of fun, so I'm going to just put a little extra effort into it. So the fence on my circular saw is 1.5 inches if I run it this way. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches up, and then I'm going to run a line right here. And I'm going to screw a cleat in, and I am going to do a plunge cut from here in. Anyway, so we have our cleat in place. Now I will start the plunge cut. Okay, not perfect, but very nice. All right, that is our square hole. Oh, and there we go. Okay, so here is our frame that we'll be shooting through. We've got our toe kick hole. We've got a window here that you pretty much have to get on your butt and sit at. You might have to raise that up just a bit, but we'll take a test drive out for it. We got one barrier here, a barrier here, and one over here. Let's try that out. All right, so I have my my base plate pieces. They're going to run this way, and I'm going to have a riser coming up the back of it, and then the barricade will sit here. So that'll leave a small amount in front of the barricade and a large amount behind the barricade. On a windy day, I'll be able to weight that down with sand. All right, so that's just going to add a little bit of relief, or a little area for some water to bead off of. So we will have to secure these in place now. Oops, if it's not on a pussy setting either. Alright, so that will be one base, and then what we'll do is we will have something like this. We'll do some miter cuts here, and we'll build a brace onto that as well. Alright, so here you can see the back side of the target a little bit better, and we have our cleats cut here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to screw those in, and it should give us a nice strong triangular base. Here's our unit, here's our support base, and our plywood. Plywood's pretty light. Support base, a little heavier. It'll be more rigid when this is attached. I might notch out the bottom so this sits down a little bit lower, and that'll actually add a little bit of structural rigidity to it. Put a centerpiece in here. I'm going to trim that. It's just a little bit too wide. I must have miscalculated or something along those lines, and it's better to cut it too big than too short though. So we're going to figure out how we're going to connect it. Probably just screw it in for now, but I might put carriage bolts in, so I'll probably run 6 screws, 3 on each side, and then replace those with carriage bolts later on so I can take it apart. Coat of paint, and then we'll shoot around it. We crouch down and we can shoot around this side. We can get down on our knee and shoot here. Sit down and shoot through the window. I'm also going to find a way of closing that window up as well. Pull up a little window and that'll open that up. And that means I can control the size of the window as well. If I pull it down, I can just make it a slot this way.